Joining us, as you heard, the president says the U.S. will not be making, in his words, security guarantees to Ukraine beyond very much, close quote. How do you interpret that?
Well, this is an effort to pressure Zelensky into giving up something for nothing. And I have to say this on top of the resolution at the United Nations where the United States sided with Russia, betrayed Ukraine, is one of the most shameful incidents in modern history. I think millions and millions and millions of Americans watching this not only disagree with the president, but maybe for the first time are just downright ashamed of the president because we have betrayed an ally. We've not only betrayed an ally, but we've betrayed our principles. Are we to be nothing except transactional now? We have no commitment to democracy, no commitment to our allies. It's all going to be about the money. That seems to be Donald Trump's orientation. But what a sad chapter of our history.
What do you see, Senator, as the purpose of this minerals deal that President Trump is expected to sign with the Ukrainian President Zelensky Friday at the White House?
Well, I think probably from Donald Trump's point of view, he hopes that this will help get his hands on some of the mineral wealth of Ukraine in exchange for nothing. So what's in it for Zelensky? I have to imagine the only thing in it for Zelensky is maybe trying to improve somewhat his relationship with this hostile U.S. president who seems so beholden to Vladimir Putin. Frankly, I think it's a difficult errand for Zelensky. He has been really Churchillian in his leadership through these 3 years of war. Ukrainians have made just tremendous sacrifices, and to be reduced to this by his most important ally, the United States, coming hat in hand with some kind of fig leaf offer of the mineral wealth of his country in exchange for little or nothing. It is really just tawdry, but it is, what this administration has reduced our allies to.
On another very sensitive subject, Senator, I want to get your reaction to President Trump's response today when asked about sending another "What did you do last week?" email to hundreds of thousands of federal employees around the country, including, of course, in California. Watch this.
You mentioned you're interested in doing another round of this email. When would you like to see that? What would be the deadline? And this time, would it be mandatory?
I think Elon wants to, and I think it's a good idea because, those people, as I said before, they're on the bubble. You got a lot of people that have not responded, so we're trying to figure out, do they exist? Who are they? And it's possible that a lot of those people will be actually fired. And if that happened, that's okay, because that's what we're trying to do. This country has gotten bloated and fat and disgusting.
What do you make of that, Senator?
Well, I think President Trump's description of bloated and fat may be a good description of the White House and its modus operandi. But what this really is just an effort to denigrate and demean people who are working hard. Some have worked as a career in the service of the country. If you sent that very same memo to Elon Musk, what did you do last week? His answers might be, well, we fired a bunch of people working to stop the spread of Ebola, and we fired a bunch of people working to stop the spread of bird flu. That's what he's been up to. And frankly, if that were any other federal employee, they would deserve to be fired. But I think this is just an effort to, as bullies do, try to bully people who are working for the federal government. They just, in the House, passed this budget resolution that wants to essentially cut taxes by $4.5 trillion for their wealthiest supporters and large corporations. And to do that, they need to cut as much as they can cut. And they hope these emails so demoralize people working for the government that they'll just outright quit so they can have more money for their tax cut. This is really what's at work here.
Let me get to another sensitive subject, Senator. The House Speaker, Mike Johnson, is now warning the Senate not to make changes to the budget blueprint the House narrowly passed last night. But Senate Republicans tell CNN Republican leader John Thune says changes need to be made. How do you see all of this playing out?
Well, it's really hard to see how it plays out, but I think, we may be headed for a Trump shutdown. They very much don't have their act together, and here you have the House saying basically our way or the highway, or we're going to shut down the government. That would be adding more catastrophe, another Trump shutdown. We went through that on the first Trump administration.
So I want to encourage Pennsylvanians to speak up, to use their voices, to do it constructively, to not retreat. This is a moment to make your voices heard.
Some extreme members of the Michigan legislature are asking the U.S. Supreme Court to overturn marriage equality. Here's my response to that. Hell no.
I'm here to say New York hasn't labored under a king in over 250 years. And we sure as hell are not going to start now.
My oath is to the Constitution of our state and of our country. We don't have kings in America, and I don't intend to bend the knee to one. Tyranny requires your fear and your silence and your compliance. Democracy requires your courage.
They are right now and will continue to be some of the most essential and trusted voices of dissent and opposition in this brand new era. Governors, Democratic governors in state houses all across the country. It'll be up to them largely and others to continue to give voice to the American people who see something profoundly wrong with what is happening, not just in these first few weeks, but most likely over the next 4 years. It's a privilege to bring in Democratic Governor J.B. Pritzker of Illinois. Thank you so much for being here.
Hi, Nicole.
We played a whole bunch of your State of the State address. I want to play one more piece of sound before we jump into this.
If you think I'm overreacting and sounding the alarm too soon, consider this. It took the Nazis 1 month, 3 weeks, 2 days, 8 hours, and 40 minutes to dismantle a constitutional republic. And all I'm saying is that when the 5-alarm fire starts to burn, every good person better be ready to man a post with a bucket of water if you want to stop it from raging out of control.
Yours is an assessment I've heard from former senior national security officials, but only privately, and you're the only one to say it publicly. Say more about your decision to do that.
Well, I should start by saying that my family escaped the pogroms in Ukraine in the 1880s, and it was when the Russians were coming to kill Jews. And this country, the United States, provided us with the security, safety, opportunity to, well, just to live. And of course, I should point out that it was a public school that gave my great-grandfather an education, and a public service, a public health agency that gave them a place to live. And so I am very grateful to be an American and believe very much in protecting all the rights of the American people. I also built a Holocaust museum with Holocaust survivors here. And I can tell you that in 1933 and 1934, the German Constitutional Republic was converted into a dictatorship in a very short period of time. And, anybody who walks through a Holocaust museum and sees the chronology can see that when rights get taken away, when, the services to people are diminished, when all of a sudden we're favoring one group of people over another, that's a danger that we ought to all pay attention to. I'm seeing that in this country right now, and I needed to speak up. I needed people to hear that. And I think that, we're seeing gradually an understanding that we've got to speak up. People need to show up and speak out.
What is it like to be a Democratic leader in a moment where the people, the only people standing up for the rule of law in terms of elected officials and the Constitution and rights, basically equal rights, are Democratic leaders?
Yeah. I'm concerned. People need to speak up now. It's not later. There needs to be a wake-up call. And I do see, you played some of the video and clips from other governors, but it's the people that they represent that are speaking out, showing up at town hall meetings, that are going to make the biggest difference. Meanwhile, you need to see Democratic leadership on this subject. And by the way, Republican leadership, there are plenty of Republicans out there that do not agree with what's going on in Washington, D.C. Now, the elected representatives in Washington who are Republicans are apparently too afraid to say in public what they say in private. They know that Donald Trump is off in the wrong direction. They're just afraid. They're afraid to lose their elections. Democrats shouldn't be afraid. We've got to speak up right now.
Can Democrats protect the rule of law in America by themselves?
You know, it's going to take the judges who are hearing these cases in court. It's going to take Democrats taking those cases to court. It's going to take average folks out there showing up and protesting. Remember what's happening, and you've been talking about this on the program, what's happening to the federal agencies. Now, that's not necessarily a matter of rights, as we would refer to them, but, you know, when you lose the ability to see the person, you know, when you're a veteran, to see the therapist that you've seen for the entire time you've been under therapy as a result of the, you know, the fact that you've served in a war and just need a little bit of help. When you lose that, when you lose, as is happening in my state, we're losing our meat and poultry inspectors.
So, folks, what we're seeing right now is Democrat, again, they're energized. And I think that's great to see. That's fantastic. And it's not just a few people in Washington. It's some more, you know, traditionally moderate people like Schiff, and it's governors, and it's what Trump has done is really reinvigorate people. I say that, I've said this, like, this is one of the silver linings, because, again, a lot of people, I'm not saying it's you guys, but I did get some people in my comments who were like, after the election, they were like, I don't know what to do anymore. Like, I'm going to tune out for 4 years, whatever. Like, very, and rightfully so, frustrated with how other people just didn't listen, and how, well, you know, they've made their bed. We all got to lie in it, but, like, I tried to do my part. But what Trump and Elon and all the dum-dums have done by being so insane so quick is they've woken people up. You know, like it's not the lobster boiling in the pot where the temperature is slowly turning up until it's too late, right? It's everyone sees the building on fire and couldn't help but be roused into action, right? And it started with you folks. The politicians didn't start this. I want to make that clear. Yes, some people like AOC and Jasmine Crockett have been loud from the beginning, but this didn't start with the folks in Washington. This started with you on the ground protesting. And now Democrats are finally taking it to Trump.